it's espionage. I mean, it makes it so easy to spy. If you host this platform, you have this platform, all this information gets dumped in your lap. All you got to do is figure out how to analyze it and store it. Ever wish you could grab a beer and ask a lawyer any question you wanted and have them break it down for you? Law Splaining at GRL Raw breaks down fancified legal mumbo jumbo over beers so all may understand. All right, welcome back to Law Splaining. I am Bobby Rehkemper, where we usually drink beers and discuss some simplified legal mumbo jumbo. Due to scheduling challenges, this episode we are drinking coffee without Bailey's so far. And we are going to talk about and attempt to break down and simplify the ever so popular hot topic of the day, the TickTok ban. I personally do not have TikTok. I have avoided it. But there are millions of users, millions of people in our country that do use it and build businesses off of that platform, and are going to be following the congressional action and then the pending legal challenges very closely. So to back up and give a broader explanation, Congress passed a bill and they titled it brilliantly, Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act. Pretty much what we can call this is the TikTok Chopping Block Act. The congressional summary, if you go to congress.gov, they give a summary of each bill. And according to Congress and how they describe it, this bill prohibits distributing, maintaining, or providing internet hosting services for a foreign adversary-controlled application, and they put this in black and white, example, TikTok. However, the prohibition does not apply to covered application that executes a qualified divestiture as determined by the president. Under the bill, a foreign adversary-controlled application is directly or indirectly operated by ByteDance, Ltd., or TikTok, including subsidiaries or successors that are controlled by a foreign adversary. Really what they're saying is TikTok can't be used and can't be sold or can't be downloaded, can't be maintained within the borders of the United States in its current setup. And the overarching, in all reality, TikTok is very similar to US-based social media apps such as Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Snapchat. But the concern that Congress has is that TikTok is harvesting what they describe as vast amounts of user data, including location, specific devices, identifying information of the users, and everything like that. Let's be honest. US-based social media applications are doing the exact same thing. But the fear is that this is a Chinese business subject to control and access by the Chinese government. Obviously, it's not hard to describe China as a foreign adversary to the United States, always has been, probably always will be. And the fear is that because TikTok was developed and originated out of China, the Chinese government could have access to the information that is collected and maintained by TikTok. Now, TikTok itself is actually a U.S. company, but its parent company, ByteDance, B-Y-T-E Dance, was created by Chinese entrepreneurs and is in fact still owned in part by a Chinese nationalist, owns 21%, and that's important for purposes of the bill. So the concern is security over user data and information, and it's a very real threat that the Chinese government really does what it wants, whenever it wants, as it relates to businesses created by their citizens. I'm not going to pretend to be a national security expert of any sort, but I would say I'm going to give a plug. H.R. McMaster's book, Battlegrounds. He has a special part of it focused on China and the Chinese economic espionage. And it's fascinating. It's honestly kind of terrifying as well. So really what Congress is worried about in passing this ban, and what has led to the passing of the ban, is what we could call social espionage. Okay, for another government to know what our citizens are doing, what they're talking about, what they're seeing, what they're experiencing, what they're saying, what they're hearing, could be used to the detriment of American national security. Fun fact, TikTok is not available in mainland China. So the Chinese-owned people can't use this application. Why? That's a good question. Now, if it's truly China's intention to create this application and use it for social espionage, in my humble opinion, it's actually kind of brilliant. And here's why. If you are an enemy of the United States and you create a platform that facilitates communications, and you do what American companies do, which is harvest, collect, store, analyze that user data for whether it be marketing, selling it, studying human behaviors, whatever you can figure out how to use it, it allows you to know more about American society and America in general than any satellite or spy is going to be able to tell you. You don't even have to hack anything to get the information. You just have to facilitate the entertainment value of a platform, and all of this information literally gets piled and dumped into your lap without you having to leave a desk. Arguably, what you're looking at and what's shaping up is using America's Constitution and personal freedoms against us to get information. Because they created a platform that supports, facilitates, and encourages expression, communication, and art. And from our last 2 years of episodes, that triggers what? The protections of the First Amendment. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom to connect and to communicate. And when you look at how this platform is used, it is, by definition, a platform for speech and expression. If you're creating videos, that's art. If you're talking about how you feel, that's expression. If you're saying anything back and forth to other people, you're communicating business opportunities, you're trying to sell things. Now you're also dealing with commerce. And so this app facilitates and has created a community and created this network of communication that I don't see, when this gets to court, how they're going to really be able to get around the concept of this regulation impacting adversely people's free expression and freedom of speech. So when you look at the history, also when you go back, there was an earlier TikTok controversy back, I believe it was the Trump administration, where ultimately they had to negotiate to have user data stored in a server or in cloud system that is controlled by and run by a U.S. American company. It was Oracle is who stores that now. But Congress is obviously still uneasy about it for whatever reason they have, that we don't necessarily have all the information. But then that's where this law comes into place, the TickTok chop block law. And it specifically identifies TikTok by name, ByteDance by name, and it makes it illegal to distribute, maintain, or update a foreign adversary-controlled application or provide the internet hosting for such an app. And really what they're saying is either you sell it, divest the foreign ownership, or we're going to make this illegal in the United States. And TikTok, to their credit, is not backing down. They filed a challenge in the District of Columbia Court of Appeals saying, hey, hold on, this unfairly specifically targets a particular business, a specific speech platform, and specific types of speech in way too broad of a way. And a lot of it surrounds TikTok's algorithm that feeds content to users. And apparently, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm told that TikTok's algorithm is way more effective in feeding content and driving views for people that are posting content related to their business. In other words, say I'm selling respectfully Defiant cups. Apparently, TikTok's algorithms are way better at driving people who would be more likely to buy my cup, or that may be more likely to be identified as respectfully Defiant. And so you get a greater amount of views, a greater amount of content consumption from their platform than you do with the American-based platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or Snapchat. And so along this line, there's a lot of businesses, people that have created influencers or people that have created businesses built on the TikTok platform that are challenging this, saying, hey, hold on. Not only are you interfering and messing with speech, you're now adversely impacting your own citizens' commercial abilities, the Commerce Clause. And so you're improperly regulating speech, you're interfering with specific types of speech, specific types of content to a point where you are running afoul of the First Amendment protections, and you don't have a good enough justification, Congress, in order to do that under the facts as they exist. So ultimately what's going to happen is in court, the U.S. government is going to have to present a very compelling reason to justify their ban of TikTok. And that's where it's going to come up. What information are they going to be able to make public as far as the Chinese influence, the Chinese access to the data? Because both sides are going to have their own interest at bear. And I'm going to make some predictions on this one because I'm foolish and I'm willing to put it out there. I don't think that either side wants this to go to any type of public trial or any type of public hearing. I think what's going to happen is there's going to be, again, like there was the last time it came into court, negotiations that go on, and then there's going to be some type of supervisory component to where as long as they're able to ensure that the user data for American usage actually stays within the borders and within the bounds of the United States, and it's not accessible to the Chinese government. And no, TikTok's promise not to voluntarily turn anything over to the Chinese government is not good enough. They're going to have to do some pretty significant restructuring probably of their technology. I don't see them completely divesting or having to sell or actually going through with that part of it. I think this is more forcing negotiations to go a little bit further. It'll be interesting to watch, though, because of the impact on free speech, because of the impact on United States citizens' commercial abilities. And then, obviously, China is an interesting cat in and of itself. So that is the TikTok ban in summary, kind of the reasoning and justification behind it, but also the countervailing views of the adverse impact on constitutional rights of users, as well as the TikTok Inc., which is the actual United States owned, created business as well. So this is going to be a fascinating one to watch, see how it develops. But we wanted to give you a general summary so it hopefully makes a little bit more sense to everybody out there. But that's all I have. That is the TikTok ban and the TikTok Chopping Block Act. Look forward to talking with you guys next time, hopefully later in the day, so we can bring the beers back to Law Splaining. Till next time, see you guys.